Hey guys, Richard from the Poke Family here again. I wanted to make a video about what I think is going to come next in Pokemon Go. And by next, I mean sometime in the near future, maybe in the next year. So it's February now, so between now and the next February next year. Just some predictions. Some of it is based on research that I've done, facts found online from data mines of APKs, from leaks, from supposed developers, etc. Some of it is from there, and some of it is just my opinion. So in general, I'm gonna say take it with a pinch of salt, but I've been playing this game since launch, so I've got a pretty good idea, I think, of how it works and how they're going to move forward. Now, not 100%, but we'll see. I made a few notes for me to look at while I'm speaking to you, so I can remember what I've thought about. Right, so first things first, the way events work in this game. Previously, we've had solid events. Starts at this time, ends at this time, starts on this day, ends on this day. I think that they are potentially going to move forward into a more progressive event system. If you remember the Global Catch Challenge that they did, they give us a solid period of time to achieve it in, but they gave the worldwide community a set of goals to achieve. I think that they will roll forward with that template and start implementing that over their general events. They've started giving out little chunks of events, one after the other, keeping the player base interested. I think that they will start to roll that together to create a more, if you do this, you do that, you do the other, then. So this will happen. So like for the Global Catch Challenge, it was catch so many Pokemon to open up a reward, extra Stardust, extra XP, extra Pokemon that were previously unavailable except in certain parts of the world, etc. I think that they will roll forward with that kind of thing. So they could do extra Stardust, extra XP, longer lures, etc, etc, longer incense, longer times on lucky eggs or star pieces. I think that is pretty unlikely, but they could do that as a series of rewards. Open up access to certain Pokemon. I mean, we've seen kind of progression like that that's heading towards that. I think that also community days, they've started rolling out community days. The second one is coming up very, very soon. It's going to be a Dratini day, 3 hours of Dratinis, and if it's as wild as the last one with Pikachus everywhere, and there are Dratinis everywhere, and potentially a shiny Dratini release, it'll be wild. But I also think at some point, and I've thought this since they first announced it, that at some point in the future the community days will be dedicated to previous legendary rare bosses that are currently unavailable. So for some people who play Pokemon Go, they've only just started, they don't have access to Articuno, they don't have access to Moltres, etc. I think they'll still start using community days to re-deliver that to a community, to the parts of the community that have missed out on that. So it kind of like combines together with the regular events to create a scheduled approach to Pokemon Go, rather than you will get an event at Valentine's Day, at Easter, in the summer, at Christmas, etc. I'm sure they might still do a few things like that, especially Christmas. But I think they'll have more of a progressive, do this to achieve this and give you a time limit on it, like the Global Catch Challenge. I think it was a dry run, a testing period to see whether it would fly with the community. This is something that I've seen on a data mine, quests. Again, back to the progressive type of mindset that I think they're heading towards with this game. Now the quests, I've seen that it's been split down into 3 categories: multi-part, challenge and story. Now multi-part, I think they're probably going to be the more challenging ones. It'll probably be things like, this is my opinion, catch every legendary or 5 of each legendary from a certain phase. So in the current phase we've got Groudon, Rayquaza, sorry, not Quasar, I always get that wrong, and the whale, whose name I always forget, Kyogre. I always forget his name, Kyogre. And they're like a package, like the legendary birds from Generation 1, like the legendary beasts from Generation 2, they're like a package. They could do it so you have to catch so many of those, or just catch one of those, like, and it's a multi-part. You've achieved this part, you've achieved this part. It could be catch so many of a certain type of Pokemon, a certain named Pokemon so many times, etc, etc. So multi-part. So you've got to do one thing, then the next, then the next, then the next. Challenge, I predict, has been get 5 excellent catches in a day or a week or whatever. Get what your buddy for, I don't know, 100 kilometers, the same buddy in a week or whatever. Things like that, where you challenge to do a certain thing and you know what you have to do, but you just have to do it. Spin so many Pokestops, etc, etc, etc. Now story. Story. I'm not sure about this. I've kind of got a prediction. I think the story is going to be team-based. So you will have different story missions for the 3 teams. I think ultimately the rewards will be very, very similar, because otherwise if one of the teams has what is deemed a better reward, that would come across as fairly unfair to the other parts of the community. But I think it's going to be team-based. Probably Professor Willow giving quests, and team leaders giving quests. As to what the quest might be, I don't know. I'm assuming that they must be gym related. Battling gyms maybe, defending gyms, raids, something like that. But that one's a bit of a mystery to me. I think that they will continue with their phased releases of Pokemon. So once they've completely finished with Gen 3, they've kind of finished with the major releases, the major phases, with this last one that gave us Metagross, etc. They've kind of finished, but there are some Pokemon that are left. They always do an odd two, like Smeargle from Generation 2. We still haven't seen him. So they will continue with the phases, I think. So the phase releases. So when Gen 4 hits, and I think the reason for that is because they worked out from Generation 1 and Generation 2. Once people actually get going, they will catch these things really quickly, really quickly. I'm a little bit different. I tend to be a steady catcher, which I found surprising. I thought that I did things quite quickly, but I don't. I tend to catch them steady. I want good versions of these Pokemon. So I won't just evolve something to make it hit the Pokédex. I'll wait until I've got something with decent IVs. But I think that they'll continue with the phasing because it forces people to focus on a section of that region's Pokédex rather than just giving them everything and then within a month or two they're bored. They want more things. They're not, I suppose in Niantic's eyes, they're not spending money on the game to buy incubators or raid passes or whatever. They just quit until the next lot comes out. So it's no good, but I think that they'll continue with the phase releases for new monsters in this game. It won't revert back to Gen 1 and Gen 2. They'll stick with this system. It's worked for them. They can kind of tailor it to the seasons almost, and the big events during those seasons. Kind of. But like Christmas, you can have ice Pokemon, etc. You know what I'm talking about. Now then, this is real conjecture. This is not, I've not read this anywhere, I've not seen this anywhere, this is just me. Eventually they will have to do something with the EX raid boss. Currently it's Mewtwo. I can foresee it being Mewtwo for a good 6 months more. They're really messing with the EX raid system. It was S10 cells, then S12 cells, or S12 cells, then S10 cells, then S11 cells, whatever, I can't remember which one it is, but they've really messed with it to try and throw a spanner in the works when it comes to players working out how you get these things. For some people, I think it's probably encouraged them to go out and do more. For us, we're kind of doing less. We've done a couple of Mewtwo's. We've got them in our Pokédex. Yes, it would be nice to have a good one, but I'm not willing to spend hundreds of pounds on a system that nobody really understands how it works. Because I mean, that's what some people are doing. So I'm not willing to do that. So the EX boss will eventually have to change, because eventually everybody will end up with a Mewtwo. I mean, it's kind of the nature of the game. It's going to go in that direction. So which is going to be the next thing in there? Now originally I thought Rayquaza, but now he's a level 5 raid boss. I mean, he's one of the cooler Pokemons, I think, from Generation 3. He came and he's gone. So, well, he's still in the raids, he's not gone. But he's out there. We know that he's not going to be an EX raid boss. So what other candidates do we have out of the current Pokemon that are released? Not 4, 5, I mean, I know Arceus in 4 will almost definitely be EX raid, but out of the current Pokemon that are out there, what are they? I mean, Mew and Celebi, they're rare and they're cute, and in some ways they're very powerful, but I don't think that they'll go in that direction. I think that those will be special event releases. Anniversaries for Pokemon Go come to mind. Anniversaries for the Pokemon brand come to mind. Just celebrations in general, especially ones that celebrate particular cultures around the world. Pokemon's pretty good at that. Cultural celebrations and recognising the separate cultures that build these monsters that we're all obsessed with. So maybe during cultural celebrations in Japan or America, most likely because they're their biggest play bases, etc. The only Pokemon that I can think about of the current crop, which is like a super rare oddity Pokemon like Mewtwo, is Deoxys. Now Deoxys is not like genetically engineered like Mewtwo. He's a virus from space or some kind of crazy idea that had a laser beam shot at it or something. It's really like funky, really cool idea. Outer space Pokemon that's a virus. But this guy has, the reason why I'm up in the air about it is because, like cast form, he's got 4 different forms. Now we know that cast form, you have to catch each different form separately. They don't change in the game. They're just changed like on the catch, like map screen. So if they were to put Deoxys in there and 4 different types, that would be pretty rough. Maybe if they allowed you to choose the type on catch, so you could choose, and I think in all likelihood they would probably make it just a superficial like change. It wouldn't change his stats. I know in the main series games it does. He had an attack and a speed and a defense in a normal form, but I don't think that will happen in Pokemon Go. I think that it would, the stats will remain the same, and it would just be like a superficial skin change. So if you got different ones, you could catch the different types. If you got multiple EX Ray Passes, and I suppose that would motivate people to do more to get EX Ray Passes. So it's possible that Niantic would do that. After all, they have to make money. They can't develop the game without money, so they need people to be buying passes. They need people to be buying loot boxes, etc. Maybe Deoxys is right. Thinking about it, talking to you guys, maybe Deoxys is going to be the next one in there. Certainly Arceus in Gen 4, certainly Arceus, but who knows. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me, but I think that's the future of Pokemon Go. We're going to have more progressive events, we're going to revisit old raid bosses on community days, the quest system is going to be interesting, it's going to be, the story one is the most mysterious to me. Eventually they're going to have to do a new EX raid boss to keep it as a prize, as something that people want, they're going to have to make a change. It's troublesome because eventually people who start will want to know how they get a Mewtwo. Who knows? Interesting times. Exciting to play Pokemon Go. I'll see you in the next video, guys.